All right, well, thank you very much. The next presentation we have today is really about SLO-driven Incident Response Management, something I'm super passionate about, and hopefully you will be as well as we go through this. So, my name is Marc Boulder, Colorado. I'm a Senior Director of Engineering here at Grafana Labs. I'm super passionate about observability, specifically because we get to build tools to help engineers solve problems. And really what we need in the world is actually that solving problems, and I feel like I can be a part of actually making it better for other teams that are out there, which is really good. I'm also a dad, and I love exploring the outdoors.
Yeah, and hi, I'm Mimi Schatz. I'm the engineering manager for IRM, specifically focused on our incident response management platform. When I'm not at work, you can find me taking advantage of California's outdoor activities, much like Marc, biking, hiking, skiing, surfing, you name it.
She says surfing. She just started surfing, so she's just getting into it. All right, we're going to take a quick show of hands. Who is using SLOs in your engineering culture today? Okay, maybe we're about a third. All right, for the people who are using SLOs, we're going to help give you some ideas on how you can make your SLOs better and help them to drive your engineering culture. And for the rest of you, hopefully we can give you an introduction on how they could be used and you get your teams moving in the right direction here. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about reliability, why reliability and performance are important. We'll talk about how do you choose great SLIs for your teams. Talk a little bit about how we're building SLOs here at Grafana in our engineering culture, and then we're going to step into a demo on how you might be able to do some of these things in Grafana Cloud today. All right, so let's talk about why we're here. Again, I talked about we love to build engineering tools in order to support your teams, and what we like to do is actually bring some of our high-performing engineering culture from Grafana into the room to share both into our products as well as with your teams today. We're helping want to build exceptional production reliability for your teams. So what does that mean? What does production reliability actually mean? Well, first of all, incidents are going to happen. Like the goal here is not to eliminate incidents from your system. That's really an impossibility to do, and maybe it's undesirable to eliminate incidents entirely from your production system. It's a great opportunity for you to learn how things are actually happening in production versus how you thought they were going on in production. But it's really important, and we want to work with you so that you can detect issues before your customers do. It's really important to identify and resolve before somebody gets on the call with you, and that's really what we want to try to do when we talk about incidents. And we're trying to help build a culture so your engineers don't have to be reactive to everything that's happening in production, but we can find the things that are important that are happening in production, and that's when they can be proactive to respond to those issues. Right? And this really helps us build healthier services running in production, but more importantly, a healthier culture for your engineers and your product team, as well as your customers moving forward. But it's not just about reliability and being up. Reliability is really about performance as well. I mean, we see time and time again that performance of your system is as important as the availability of your system when you're actually delivering your product, right? These are some stats here from a recent e-commerce study. Basically, two out of three customers bounce if your latency is over 6 seconds. Half of your mobile users were bouncing if the latency is over 3 seconds. I guess our partner Embrace here, they could probably tell you all about mobile monitoring and how true that is as well. But probably you've also seen that 45% of you can see an improvement in the conversion of your e-commerce payments with a higher performance or lower latency as we're going through this. So service slowdown is really important as availability. So with this information, how do we actually choose our SLIs? Plain and simple, the goal of an SLI is to measure the service reliability and performance your customers are experiencing. So we're going to step a little bit into some vocabulary here for everybody. So the first one here is an SLI. I guess I keep using this word. We might as well bring it in. It's a service level indicator. This is the measure of reliability and performance for your site or your application, whatever we're measuring. This is the actual measurement, usually expressed as a percentage of successful and performant requests over the total. So it's a percentage, an indicator of how your service is performing. Service level objective is a goal that we're going to apply to that service level indicator. So here's our performance of what we're seeing for our measure of reliability and performance, and here's what we're trying to hit, right? Incidents will always happen. You aren't always going to be 100% within your service, so you always want to set your SLO in something that's achievable for your team. So the SLO is the goal that we're measuring up against. The final thing here is an error budget. An error budget is a way that we can actually bring the service level indicator and the service level objective together to understand how they're performing against each other over time. Our error budget looks to see how are we meeting our service level objective over the last 5 minutes, the last day, the last week, and we can make decisions about how we might want to invest in the performance of our systems, or maybe investing more in our features based on how we're hitting on we're burning down or not burning down our error budget. All right, let's break this down. What makes a great SLI? We're going to start with SLIs. I'm going to go ahead and ask my engineer. I need a service level indicator for my service to make sure that we're meeting our customer needs, and they're going to come back with maybe something like this. Well, we can measure to see if the service is up. We'll look at a Prometheus up-down number for that, and that's something that's actually going to indicate whether we're meeting our customers' needs. Or maybe the service is accessible. We can actually reach it from the outside through the gateway. Maybe their response is about the service is responding in a performant manner. We're looking at the latency of the service, right? And maybe the responses from that services are valid. We're actually sending a valid measurement back. It's actual JSON. It's actually the login, what we need. This is really looking at the indicators of the health of your service from an internal view. It's not looking at it from the external view, but it's looking at it from an internal view. And you know what? It's okay to start with an SLI based on this, because this is the conversation you're having with your engineer. We can say, this is something I can work with here, and let's see where we can move forward with that. Because SLIs are iterative, and you'll constantly evolve them over time. So what we don't want to do is have a measurement for each single one of these things, because it may be spurious. It's actually not showing a real customer value for each one of the things. So the first thing we want to do is we actually want to measure many things at once using one measurement. And this is a key component of an SLI. It's actually going to measure multiple things at once. So I put in an example of how we might turn this into an SLI. Let's see. Requests to the API provide a valid response. That's great. If we can measure requests to the API, we have a valid response. Well, now we know the responses are valid, and we definitely know that the service is up, right? Because we're sending valid responses, right? We've kind of hit two of those things. If we start to say only the responses that are happening within, in this case, 250 milliseconds, we've added a latency, and we can say that we're responding in a performant manner, and we're hitting 3 of these measurements. And if I filter that down further to only look at requests that are coming through the gateway, I've now created a single measurement that covers the 4 aspects of what we were putting into our SLI. We can say the service is up, the service is accessible, it's responding in a performant manner, and the responses are valid. So we took it, measured many things at once, and actually brought it to a single measurement. And that really empowers the measurement to be more important for us as a user, or for the engineer to respond to. But the problem we have here is it's actually not representing customer value. The next step that we need to do to convert an SLI into something that is representing business value is to tie it to something that's happening for the customer, something that's really, really important. Now, if we were actually to look at that SLI with those 4 measurements and filter that just to, is my login successful, all of a sudden I have a single measurement measuring 4 things that's actually tied to a successful business measure, which is, can users log in? And that's something that your engineering team will care about, your product team will care about, and the leaders across your company will care about. And this is part and parcel to making a great SLI. We could do this for the same thing for the payment. Is the payment going through successful in a performant and valid way? Or is my shopping cart actually current? So we can take these multiple measures, tie them into one as an SLI, and actually tie them back to customer value. And that's really important from an SLI standpoint. The next part about building great SLIs happens to do with error budgets. So we now have an SLI. We're measuring multiple things at once. We've tied it to customer value. What do we do with that? The key point here is when we're looking at an error budget, it can see how we're performing against that SLO over time. And I, as an engineer, or you as a product leader, can start to make decisions on how we need to respond to that based on how we're meeting that objective. If I'm burning through my error budget very, very quickly, I know as an engineer this is important. We have a problem with a customer-facing measurement that is not functioning, and I need to jump on this quickly. It's not a, well, the CPU is high. I don't need to know if I need to respond or not. I know that this is a valid business measure, and I need to respond to it quickly. Or, in this case, you can see the error budget is trending down slowly over time, over the course of a month. This is not something that needs an urgent response to a page, but something that I can actually schedule to happen during my normal engineering process and we can solve during the day. Which is really the big change that SLOs really provide us. It gives us the ability to talk to this as a measure between product and engineering and choose the urgency to address it. Overall, SLOs are going to provide improved reliability for our service because we're really measuring the SLI of what's actually happening from a customer's perspective, which leads to happier customers, which everybody in an organization is going to want. It provides better data-driven decision-making in order to prioritize engineering resources, whether those are on-call resources or feature-building resources, which leads to happier engineers and maybe happier product team, but maybe they're less important. But more importantly, for your whole organization, it's going to lead to fewer surprises. And that's really what we're trying to do, is trying to be consistent about how we're delivering as a team. So with that, I'm going to take a moment. We're going to introduce Grafana SLO. This is available in Grafana Cloud today. And it is the tooling that we're providing to codify everything about SLIs, SLOs, and error budgets together to make it super easy for you and your team to pick up this engineering practice. So it's available on all tiers in Grafana Cloud. It's a step-by-step process where you can provide a specific measure that you want it or multiple measures that you want to be your SLI. It will automatically guide you through the process of selecting the best SLO that you think we can meet for your SLI. And then it will automatically build the fast and the slow burn down alerts, and as well as the error budgets for your team as we're moving through this. On top of that, we're going to go ahead and automatically build the visualizations, which actually provide the piece of information you're going to use to collaborate and speak to for your team, right? So we have visualization of your SLI, how it's performing over time, how we can use these in operational excellence reviews for your teams. And then we'll also have detailed views into the error budgets as well. But that's all slideware. I want to hand it over to Mimi here, who's actually going to step into a demo of how we can build an SLI inside of Grafana Cloud today and how that fits into an incident response management process. So thank you very much.
Thanks. So as Jen said, nothing like doing a live demo, and I am also the thing standing between you and lunch. So try and keep this moving. All right, so thank you, Mark. The first thing we're going to do, as he said, is we're going to create an SLO. We're going to do that right here within Grafana. As he's mentioned, we have this really nice workflow built in here for you. So it's 5 steps. We auto-populate a lot of this information for you. And then I'm just going to walk us through. So yeah, defining our service level indicator, that's how we're going to measure our SLO. We have a time window of 28 days, and then you can select from your data source. Both of these things are configurable, but I'm just going to leave them as they are. So for building our query, we allow for we have 2 options here. One, advanced, for those of you who are significantly more comfortable with PromQL. That is not me, so I am going to use our ratio query. We're going to be looking at response time for our mythical application. So I'm just going to pull that up in a request times bucket, specifically curious about our production namespace. And you can see this just auto-filling for you. Looking at responses that are less than or equal to 200 milliseconds, and then filtering out for status 500, I guess, filter out. So that's going to be our success metric. And now for our total metric, looking at our, again, for the mythical times, our request times count, and limiting that to our production namespace. Now, this is pretty good, but I'm actually a member of our payments team. I don't really care about a lot of the other endpoints this will pull in, so I'm actually going to limit this a little bit further and set it just for our payment and do that down here as well. And you can see in the auto fill the other endpoints that are available to you. All right. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. The last thing we can do is we can do some grouping. I'm going to group this by cluster. I know that the service is deployed in a couple different places, and I'm simply just going to write cluster here. And now we have this dimensionalized SLO. So with a click of run queries, for those of you who prefer your PromQL, the full query is visible. And then we have below the expectation for how this SLI will perform. So as you move your cursor across the top, you can see for each one of our clusters a value that's presented on a scale of 0 to 1. So this one being 9.932. Okay, so with that set, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to click through. And we're going to set a target and an error budget. By default, we say we provide 99.5, but you can adjust this. As we also give you a preview for how this will perform. As you can see, this would not go very well. So I'm just going to adjust this down. I'm going to be generous and set my error target at about 70%. The graph updates. I feel pretty confident that this is something that our team can meet at this point. Our expectation with these are you will update them as you improve your service. These are not set to be stagnant, but rather things that you will adapt over time. All right, so next step. Going to add a name and description. I don't want you to have to see me type everything, so I'm just going to grab a predefined name for our payment service response time SLO, and then a nice descriptor. For here, the expectation is this is something that's going to be visible to other people, something that can easily pick up what this SLO is doing. So for here, user requests to the payment service that are successful and under 200 milliseconds. Lastly, we suggest attaching 2 labels to your SLOs. You can also customize this and add additional ones, but we recommend team name and service name. So I'm going to go ahead and attach the core banking team to this, and the service is payments. All right, so we're 3 steps in, 2 to go. The next is adding an SLO alert rule. So we've defined this SLO, but we don't have any alert rule set around it. So at this point, it's not the most actionable. We make this really easy for you. You can just click the checkbox, and we are going to create 2 rules for you. You can dig into the details here, but out of the box, we have a fast burn alert rule and a slow burn. Fast over a shorter period of time, something that we would expect to page out to someone on call, declare an incident, and slow burn over a longer period of time, probably something that can be handled within work hours, needs to be addressed, but not necessarily a fire. So with that, I'm going to review the SLO. All the information we've just put in is now listed. You can kind of confirm and go back and edit if you need. And then I'm going to save. And so here we have back to our list of SLOs. For every SLO we create, as Marc pointed out, we also create a dashboard by default. So here is the dashboard for our payment service response time SLO. You can see here at the top, we've got the time window that we defined. We have the SLO we defined and how it's been performing over the last 28 days. You can adjust the time period, like on most of our dashboards, you can adjust the time period up here in the upper right. And then you can see, well, we already have 2 alerts going. In addition to creating a dashboard for every SLO, we also append every SLO to an overview dashboard. So this would be something, so across your department, you can kind of keep a bird's eye view on what's happening. Dave Moore's test here, it's really not going very well, probably have something to address. Okay, so now we've kind of gotten the lay of the land. We've created our SLO, we've defined an SLI for that, and we've associated some alert rules to it. When your alert fires, it's going to route through on-call, our on-call product, and from there, we're going to send out notifications to however you have that set up. That could be Slack, MS Teams, to your mobile. to the mobile app. And so for today, we're going to pop over to Slack. And we're going to see here we have our payment service response time SLO that's fired. It's been piped into our ops demo alerts channel. And with it comes a variety of information, the team, the cluster, the service, and also links out for additional information. But because I know that this is the fast burn, I'm going to go ahead and declare an incident because we've got to get on this. And so with that, we're back into Grafana, and we've carried over with it for our name, the name pulled from the alert. We can go ahead and set the severity. I'm actually going to leave it as undetermined because I don't really have much clarity yet. And I'm going to go ahead and add a label for the payments team to make sure that they're aware that this gets associated to the team. All right, so we've declared our incident. There's a bunch of things that we do automatically for you to kind of help standardize your workflow. And before I kind of get into that, I'm going to go ahead and assign a commander and an investigator so they can kind of take the reins while I'm doing this.
Oh boy, you're going to be busy now.
Yeah. Oh, he's not available. Chris, are you here? There we go. All right, so Mark's the commander. I've assigned Chris as my investigator, and
Chris, you got to get on this.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna page out as well. So we have an integration right here for on-call. I'm actually gonna page out to the infrastructure team. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna need their help with this one. So with that, I've invited them. So while they're assembling and starting to investigate, I'll go through a little bit of what we do automatically for you. So our incident has been created. With that, we've also created a post-incident report. It's just a skeleton template at this point. It will get auto-populated with some information from the incident as it gets filled out, and you can configure those templates to kind of fit your business's needs. We also link a Google Meet or potentially Zoom, depending on what you're using, in order to create a virtual room. And lastly, we create a channel within Slack or MS Teams if you're using one of those services. As we scroll down, you'll see that the alert that I used to declare this incident has been brought into the incident and attached to the timeline. So at the bottom here, this is a timeline that will get populated as we move through the investigation. As we can see, Ryan's in here starting to triage the issue. Looks like we have some crash loops, and this will get filled out as we go. And this really allows for a much easier post-incident report. This is all built for you. You don't have to go ahead and do this yourself. So from here, there's also a few pieces of automation that happen within Slack, and we're just going to pop over there. So we have a general incidents channel, and in the channel, it posts for every time an incident gets declared. This really makes for easy stakeholder communications. Anyone can be a part of it, can be watching. You can see that we've also populated with the commander and the investigator, so we know who's responsible, as well as a link to the specific incident channel. So now we've clicked into the incident channel. And as I scroll down here, Ryan and Chris are doing a great job responding. You'll notice that there's this little robot emoji that they've attached to a few of their messages. That's what helps push information from Slack into a Grafana incident. Slack, MS Teams, they're kind of ephemeral in a lot of ways. It's really hard to come back and look through this information. You kind of forget about the channel. So using this, pushing it into incident, it will live there associated to the specific incident indefinitely. All right. Really, they're doing a great job. What have we found here? KubeCon, crash loops, potential culprit. All right. So we've also attached a panel. We've attached a query. You can also attach a panel. You can post the alerts to it. I was expecting, see, this is what you get for live demos. I was expecting our Grafana machine learning SIFT investigation to work out, but it seems it didn't. So one of the other features we have here, SIFT, I think it was mentioned in some of the previous talks, is this automated investigation phase. So with a namespace and a cluster, we're able to look across your logs, metrics, and traces, so all of your observability signals, and bubble up for you potential issues. So that could be recent deployments, it could be error log patterns. I was hoping to see that, sadly not. So it looks like they figured out what's going on. Do you guys think you're close to a resolution? Yeah, okay. I'm gonna say they're close to a resolution. So with that, when it's time to resolve your incident, there's a couple of things we want to check. One, I just want to look over the task list. So tasks can get created on the fly during the incident, and potentially you need to convert those into GitHub issues to track them for afterwards. So I see update runbook for alert has been added, and I'm actually just going to make sure that that's converted to a GitHub issue before closing out. All right, nice. So now we've got an issue created in GitHub. We'll be able to track after action items easily. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and resolve. So one other feature we have in here is an integration with OpenAI, and it'll let us do auto summarization of the incident. So for all of the information you've pushed into the timeline, it's going to read through that, create a summary, and then I can append that to the incident before closing it out. I feel pretty good about what ChatGPT has told me today. So I'm going to append it and I'm going to resolve. And with that, our incident is solved. So the last thing I'm going to show you, so we've gone from creating our SLO, associating it to alerts, firing those alerts, declaring an incident, and closing it out. That's really within the context of an incident. And what does that look like across your whole organization? How do we start to keep a pulse on how your org is doing? So with that, we have a incident insights dashboard. And for here, we aggregate information from across your incidents. This is the default, but we have a Grafana incident data source, so you can build out your own dashboards as you see fit. At a high level, we have, the amount of incidents, mean time to resolve, and then slicing it by total incidents by severity, potentially by labels, and as well as incidents over the monthly. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Marc, and hopefully you can see how you can detect, respond, and learn from incidents.
Nice. Thank you very much, Mimi. You did a great job. I'm really impressed. Demoing live here, folks, so it's good. Yeah, so overall, what's really interesting here is we've taken kind of the entire life cycle of kind of detecting anomalies within your data, responding to them healthy, and then being able to learn from the end, all within inside of Grafana. We're trying really to target to bring your engineers, keep them in one location, and use the observability data underneath in order to solve that incident response process, that life cycle for them. So we do error budgets, routing, escalation management. Clearly the collaboration and workflow automation is a core piece of what we're delivering here at Grafana Labs in order to be able to help your team stay within on tool and get more value out of your observability data. With that, I encourage you all to go into Grafana Cloud, whether it's your free or your paid version. Go ahead and try creating an SLO today. We want to get some feedback and work more closely with you as we go through this. Thank you very much. Really appreciate everybody's time today. And thank you very much to Mimi with an excellent demo. Cheers.